गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः कृष्णाय वयं नुमः। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्ताम् सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्याष्टहस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। We are in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 10, and we are in where are we? We are in verse 28, isn't it? No.
9 is complete. Today is 10.
10 is already going on. Just one moment, let me check where we have to start from. Okay, no talking. 37. From 38 we have to start. So, we have to start from 38th verse today. So, last week we were seeing, this is where the Markandeya is singing the praises of Lord Shiva when he comes, and after that, Ishvara, meaning Lord Shiva, Lord Shiv, Ji, then sings the praise of the Brahmanas. Why you're okay? No, I thought you were sitting on the floor. No, okay. He sings the praise of the Brahmanas, such as sage Markandeya, and then after having singing, and then reciprocally our sage Markandeya also talks of the greatness of Lord Shiva, and the Lord said that our presence does not go waste. We give a boon whenever we come. So you ask for a boon, and because that Shivji had already said, Markandeya, sage Markandeya, wanting to keep the word of Lord Shiva. If Shivji has said, where are you all going? Where are you all going? No running out of here. भगवत चल रही है, उसको तुम थिएटर में भेज रहे हो. Come everyone here. Everyone come here. Call them. No, you call them. There's no question. You can't be having a movie there and a class here. Otherwise, I'll go home. Come on, quickly. Don't waste my time. What is this new habit you have made? When the class begins, you run out of the class. These two have just newly come, and they are getting wrong idea that when class is going on, they don't have to attend. You have attended many years, I know. But these two, don't teach them wrong habits. Who is the kingpin? The birthday girl is the kingpin. Yes, she is the kingpin. Sorry, I have to be like this. Where are we? So he says, when Lord Shivji has said that I have to give you a boon, I want to give you a boon, and my presence cannot go waste without giving a boon, even though sage Markandeya doesn't want anything in return from Lord Shiva, because he says your presence itself is enough to bestow all the blessings. But because you asked me to ask for a boon, I will ask to keep your word. Otherwise, people will say, Lord Shiva says take a boon and the devotee doesn't take a boon. Huh? So he says, what greater boon shall I ask you, O perfect one? And what is the whose very sight is blessed, through whose sight man, who are not only self-sufficient but shower blessings on your devotees. And what does he ask in the end? He says, Bhagvat Achyutam Bhaktim Tatpareshu Tathatvai. He says, Bhagvat Achyutam Bhaktim. You grant me this boon, that may my devotion, and here bhakti is devotion, also surrender. And remember why he was taking the name of the Lord Narayana. Why was he taking? Since he had that experience of Maya in the last lecture, if you have not heard, he had the experience of the Maya going into the mouth of baby Narayana and coming inside again there is another baby Narayana and so on. So since he found himself back in the ashram, no more coming in and out of a pralaya. Pralaya means dissolution of the world. From that time he understood it is the Lord's Maya, and he starts taking the name of the Lord, Om Namo Narayanaya. And now he is asking that, O Lord Shiva, that you have come to give me the boon that I have utter devotion at the feet of Lord Narayana. This is what we should have, because Lord Narayana here, either you can take him as Lord Vishnu, who is the Lord of the waking state. Is the maintainer, no? Sadhana can be done only in the waking state. Sadhana cannot be done in dream or deep sleep. So dream god is total level Brahmaji. Total level sleep god is Lord Shiva. So waking is Narayana, Vishnu, and Vishnu says Sida Narayana. We don't see any difference in them anyway. So when we here say Lord Narayana, we take him as the Ishvara. When we take Lord Vishnu, we take him as the maintainer of the creation. So you have to distinguish between the two. That one Narayana alone is expressing as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So he says, please bless me and devoted to him as well as to yourself. Not only to him but also towards yourself. Suta Uvacha, the story continues, and the story Ityarchito bhistustascha munina suktaya gira tamaha bhagavat sharvaya cha abhinanditaha kamo maharshe sarvoyam bhaktima swamadhokshaje akalpanantad yashah punyam. Again, akalpantad yashah punyam ajara marata tatha jnanam traikalikam brahman vijnanam cha viraktimat brahmavarchasvino bhuyat puranacharyatastute. Here I think we did this, but we'll just recap. Sutji says, I told you last week who Sut is and who the Shaunak Rishis are. I will not repeat that. And Sutji is saying, thus worshipped ityarchito, iti archito abhishtutaha cha munina suktaya gira. Thus worshipped and glorified by the sage in sweet words. Tamaha bhagavat sharvaya chabhinanditaha. Lord Shiva, who is Lord Shiva? He is the destroyer of the whole universe. He is just like Brahmaji is the creator, Lord Shiva is the destroyer. Supported by his consort, addressed him thus. Sharvaya is his wife. What did he say? Kamo maharshe sarvoyam bhakti mansvam adhokshaje akalpantad yasha punyam ajara marata tatha. He says, full of devotion, O sage Markandeya, full of devotion as you are to Lord Vishnu, who is above sense perceptions. Yeah, last week I think I was talking about this. Our idea of Lord Vishnu is Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadhari. Our idea of Lord Vishnu is that he one who is wearing the pitambar, whose body is blue and or like the rain clouds, who's wearing a mukut and makara kundala and kaustubha manimala and vanamala and kamarband and armbands and wristbands and everything. Our picture immediately comes to that. But who is Lord Vishnu? Can you think of totality? Can you think of the total world? You have an idea that there is total world. What is the total world? Just say earth also. Sitting here, can you see the total earth? You know there is total earth. But can you see it? Can you give it, oh, earth is round. You know it is round. But have you seen it? Are you seeing it? You are only seeing a certain curvature. That's all. Anywhere you go on the planet, you will see only a certain curvature of few kilometers long. You will never see the complete circle as it is, right? So for that, what you have to do? Maybe the curvature will become a bit longer if you go higher. But if you go away from the earth, away from grossness, then you will be able to see the total. No? So same way, as long as you are sitting in the body, in your senses, you will not be able to see Lord Vishnu as he is. We are only, and that's why in the Western world, only after they stole all our books, they came to know that earth is round. Till then they believed, till 1750, they believed that the world was flat. Isn't it? आज बहुत beautiful example came today. I was teaching Sanskrit and hello, I was teaching Sanskrit, and in Sanskrit there are no punctuations. There is no comma, there is no question mark, there is no colon, there is no semicolon, there is no full stop. But there is, after every sentence, there is one line. That line is called Purna Viram. Purna Viram. Purna means, so, where are we? Sense perceptions. So these senses, they are limited in their functionality. So we need to get out of this body in order to see this body. Some people have out of body experience, they can see their body lying there. If you want to look at this house, you have to go outside this house to look at the whole structure. Similarly, you have to get out of your normal means of knowledge in order to access the true form of the Lord. And can you by your choice go and see the form of the Lord? No. It is by His blessings, it is by His grace. Just like in this episode, we saw Sage Markandeya was taking the name of Lord Narayana. But who came to bless him? Lord Shiva came. Did he call him? No. Was he expecting him? No. Exactly the same thing in Kena Upanishad also, it's the same thing. The fire goes to the Yaksh, gets defeated, comes back. Vayu goes, gets defeated, comes back. Then Indra goes. But Indra doesn't come back. Yaksha, he sees Yaksha and immediately, the moment he gets one glimpse, he vanishes. And Indra says, who is this fantastic person whom I saw but I can't see anymore? And instead of coming back defeated, instead of accepting, I think it was my mental imagination. That's what we say, sometimes. He doesn't do that. He continues staring into that spot which is blank. There is nothing there. It is empty. Looking at that spot where the Yaksha had appeared. And he kept looking and kept looking. And what was his attitude? That should be our attitude when we are doing our japa, when we are wanting to have the blessings of the Lord. And what is that? No expectation. If you have expectation, the Lord will come in that particular manner. What is that manner? And do you know what your expectations are? You may think that I want this and this, but at that last moment, like Kumbhakaran, if something wrong comes out, a big problem. He wanted the power, but instead Saraswati came and said, 6 months waking, 6 months sleeping. Are you absolutely sure that whatever comes out of your mouth comes by your choice? No. So you have to be careful. So never wish anything. Don't expect anything, like Indra in Kenopanishad. Do not expect anything. Remain awake. Be focused. Be single pointed. Be fully available. And what happened as a result? Uma, Lord Shiva's wife, comes there. Because Indra is the lord of the mind. Mind can never come to know the reality. So how did the reality express itself there? Through its potentiality. Uma is the potentiality. So she came there and told him, hey, whom you saw was Brahman. Same way here. Same way here. Lord Narayana is the Ishvara. He is expressing as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Now in that sequence we are seeing. So he has sent one of it. Who? He sent Lord Shiva along with his consort. We already saw in one of the lectures the inseparable connection between Shiva and Parvati. Shiva did not speak anything. Umama said. Then Lord Shiva, when they came down, because she said, let's go and bless him, so they went. But whose expression is Lord Shiva and Parvati? They are the expression of the Ishvara. They are expression of the Nirgun Nirakar, who is taking the form of Sagun Sakar. As a creator, his Sagun Sakar Roop is Brahmaji, with potentiality called Brahmani. His Sagun Sakar Roop of maintenance is Lord Vishnu, whose potentiality is Lakshmi, and he takes the form of Lord Shiva with respect to destruction, with his potentiality called Uma. Who? Narayana. Now we have been given in the Bhakti Shastra, in the Vishishta Advaita and Dvaita Shastras, they have given Ananta Shayana in what do you call, Trichurapalli and our Sri Rangam. You can see and he is representing Lord Vishnu is also like that, and Narayana is, because only from waking you can get to that, no? From dream you cannot get to the reality, from sleep you cannot get to the reality. Therefore, the form of Vishnu and the form of Narayana is given as same. Understand? If you take Lord, for the Shaivites, if you see Lord Shiva and the Ishvara Shiva, they will be exactly the same. Brahmaji, no. Brahmaji is born from a Kamal. So in this manner. So here he says, what does he say? He gives the boon to sage Markandeya. He says, Kamo maharshe sarvoyam bhakti mastvamadokshaje akalpantad yasha punyam ajara marata tatha jnanam traikalikam brahman vijnanam cha viraktimata brahma varchasvino bhuyat Puranacharyatastute. He says, full of devotion as you are to Lord Vishnu, who is above sense perceptions. So all this last 5 minutes that I was talking about was why the Lord is, or how the Lord is above sense perceptions. O great sage, let all these desires of yours, all this desire, what is the desire of the sage? To have unflinching devotion at the feet of the Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu. He says, let all this desire of yours be fulfilled. अब जब भगवान ने बोल दिया तो हो गया. See? let your fame endure till the end of the kalpa. Akalpantad yasha. Yasha means your fame. Akalpantad means till the end of the kalpa. Again, we told last week, how long is a kalpa? 72 cycles, 72, 74, something, 72. 72 cycles of Chatur Yuga. What are the Chatur Yugas? Satyug, Tretayug, Dwapar Yug and Kalyug. How much is Kalyug? Some places they say, in Bhagavad it says 4,032,000 some years. 2 times Kalyug is Dwapar Yug, 3 times Kalyug is Treta Yug, 3 times Kalyug is Satya Yug. Modern science has not calculated more than that. Well, not calculated 72 cycles of Chatur Yuga. How many millions of years it is? See? So that calculation is there. So, till the end of the kalpa, one kalpa, what is the other information with regards to kalpa? What is one kalpa? 1 day of Brahmaji. Brahmaji, the creator. So that is 72 cycles of Chatur Yuga is equal to 1 day of Brahmaji. Equally long is the 1 night of Brahmaji. Then again the next kalpa begins. Next day begins. Oh, so that's not the end. No, it's not the end. But then every Chatur Yuga cycle is concluding. There is Pralaya. So many times Pralaya has happened. See? That will go on. Isn't it happening? Every time you close your eyes, everything is gone. Pralaya. Kshanik Pralaya, but it is Pralaya. Similarly, every night you are sleeping, but then you wake up again next morning. Again Pralaya, every night. Same way at a total level, this is 1 day and 1 night. 1 kalpa is equal to 1 day of Brahmaji. So he says, till the end of the kalpa, let religious merit and immunity from old age and death be enjoyed by you. Punyam, yasha punyam, ajara amarata tatha. Ajarata, where you do not get old. Amarata, immortality, amrutatvam, that you do not get old and you remain healthy and disease free till the end. Okay. Hanumanji is like that, he is like that, Saptarishis are like that, till the end of the. But what about Dronacharya's Ashwathama? What about Ashwathama? Is he got the blessings of Ajara Amarata? No, he is a Kushtarogi. He's got, what is that disease called? Leprosy. He has to live. He has to live. And where is he then now? Go to the Narmada Parikrama, you will find him somewhere. He is reformed. Because he is the one who shot the Brahmastra into the womb of Uttara and killed Parikshit when he was in the womb of his mother. And that young girl called out Lord Krishna, and Krishna came and revived that dead child in the womb of, or protected him. So the one who is protected by the Lord himself is called Parikshit. See how the connection? See? So that Ashwathama then gets the curse, gets the curse that you are going to be living, you will not die, and you will pray. It's like, when the story about hell came in one of the cantos, that you are boiled in the hot oil like pakodas, your body is cut into pieces, but you don't die. Remember just now Markandeya, sage Markandeya, when the floods came, the crocodiles were eating, the shark is eating and vomiting him out. But he is not dying. He is underwater for so many years, millions of years, but he is not dying. How much suffering it is, isn't it? The same way. And and death be enjoyed by you, and let knowledge, what is jnanam traikalikam brahman vijnanam cha viraktimata. And let knowledge relating to past, present, and future and self-realization, coupled with dispassion and the teachership of a Purana, fall to your lot. Teachership of a Purana. Therefore, you have one Puran. There are 18 main Puranas. How many sub-Puranas? 18 sub-Puranas. Out of them, one Puran is attributed to sage Markandeya. It's called Markandeya Puran. So he is the author of that. And therefore, Vijnanam cha viraktimata, self-realization coupled with dispassion. So, on one hand there is dispassion, on one hand there is complete knowledge of past, present, future, that is at the worldly level, relative level, but self-realization also means even while living in this world, he is not losing his direct experience of the self. See, 2-3 things have been given. First was given that let your wish be fulfilled, the utter devotion to the feet of the Lord. Then he gives him the boon of, this is extra, without asking. He gives him that you will not get old and you will ever be healthy and you will be disease free. Then he gives him the blessings of the knowledge of past, present, and future. He gives him the blessings of self-realization. He gives him the blessings of dispassion, and also he gives, so that his name is etched into eternity, he gives him the blessings. Let you be the author of one of the Puranas. How wonderful it is. Invest, and why he is giving all this? And Brahma Varchasino Bhuyat, because you are invested with the Brahma Varchas. Brahma is Brahman, Varchas means effulgence, because you are exubing, is that the word? Exuberating the light of consciousness, the light of Brahman. You are shining with that. And why does that light shine? It is there in you, in everyone. Why is it shining? In him and not us. Because he is focused on the infinite. His Brahma Varchas, just like Brahmacharya, the one who walks the path to Brahman is Brahmachari. Brahma Varchas, the one who is glowing in the light of Brahman, effulgent in the light of Brahman, and therefore he gives it. See, just like you take shower, you become fresh. Shower? Everyone? Shower? No! Oh, you didn't take shower. You didn't take shower. Good. Mummy is going, my daughter did not take. So, you took shower, you feel fresh, you feel good, isn't it? Automatically freshness comes. If you take long shower with hot water, then what happens? You feel energy gone. 4-minute shower, energy up. Similarly, when you do sadhana, don't do long sadhana. If you want to do japa, do short ones. If you stretch it too far, suppose like you eat food, you keep eating whole day or what? No. Now lunch, dinner will be there after this, prasad will be there. You will eat and you will finish. You enjoy it. Before we had the gul pangal, I could have eaten more, but I only took what was given. I was not greedy. So I ate what was given, and she knew what is right for me so that I can give a lecture. Otherwise, if I eat too much, then there will be, I won't be able to speak. I will be burping here. A nice coffee. But if you keep drinking coffee, what will happen? You will have acidity. If you keep eating, what I'm saying is everything done in measure, initially everything done in correct measure, with the right focus, with the right attitude, with the right control, it will take you to whatever goal you have set, whether it is job or whether it is like this young kid. She's learned last week, she sang that 2 lines of the bhajan so beautifully. She sang 1 year, 6 months ago she couldn't even speak Adivji, she was doing. Now she's singing. See, so same way, just as you are coming to a satsang, mom has dressed her, she didn't dress herself up, she made the child dress up nicely. Why? My child should look beautiful, isn't it? Don't you want to look beautiful in the eyes of the infinite? Why do you think we wear? I can wear any cloth anyway. I don't have to. You won't even come to know if I have taken shower or not. I'm good at makeup. But so I am coming to satsang, I am giving a satsang, I have to be at my best. I cannot trick the reality. It knows. Outside I am happy. Inside I am disliking, hateful, angry with everyone. But outside everything is good. Hi, how are you? Inside. So just like outside you are showing you are good, but inside you are bad. You are not feeling good. This doesn't work. That Bhagavan is knowing everything. So when he sees, for outside people, you are not showing your anger, you are not showing your dislike, you are not showing your hatred, you hide it. You show your best outside to people, even if you don't like them. Same way, when we come to Bhagavan, you put aside your shortcomings, you bring out your best. Then what will happen? He will help you to remove whatever you have hidden also. Last week, I think it was this class or some other class, I gave the example that some people say that we should sadhan and sadhya. We do sadhana for what? For realizing the Lord. How do we do the sadhana? By taking the name. So taking the name of the Lord is the sadhana to realize the Lord. Correct? But some people, you tell them, you take the name, oh no, I drink, I got so much anger, I think so bad about everyone, I think I have to first purify my mind and then I will take the name of the Lord. Will it ever happen? By yourself, will you be ever able to purify your mind? Impossible. So what have you done? You have made the sadhan, means the means, as the goal. You have made the mind as the goal, as the means. Mind as the goal. That I am going to that I want to first purify my mind, then I will take the name of the Lord. And what is the correct thing? The name of the Lord is to be taken to purify the mind, so that you can realize. But what can you teach anyone? You leave them, okay, good luck. Till it dawns on them, यार स्वामी जी ने बोला था, अरे उस महात्मा ने बोला था. Because they think they know it all. They are so guilty. But our sage Markandeya, he is a clean slate. His body, breath, mind, intellect, as we saw for so many years, he was sitting on the banks of that lake and the base of a mountain in his kutia, outside his kutia, sitting in union, contemplating on the divine Lord Narayana. See, without expecting anything. So as you are with Brahminical or spiritual glory. But so now sage Markandeya, even though he is realized, even though he is Jivan Mukta, even though he has got Atma Sakshatkar, but he has been chosen by Lord Shiva to continue for the entire duration of the day of Brahma, which is the one kalpa, to do his work, not to do what he wants, to do the work of Lord Narayana or Lord Shiva. And how is he going to do that? How is sage Markandeya going to do that, do their work? By not doing anything. He is just sitting there. Does sun do anything? No. He just, where he is, earth is going around, no? And you are benefiting the sun rays and organizing your day. Similarly, such sages, there are many sages. In Himalayas also there are many sages, whom we have not even heard about. Every now and then something comes out. And they are sitting there, the Sapta Rishis they are there for the entire Kalpa. They are also there. The Sapta Rishis, Sage Vashishta, Vishwamitra, they are all there. But can you see them? No. But then what are they doing? They are wherever they are. Either they are involved, either they are like a common person, you don't know, or they are sitting in their sage, in their hermitages, or in their caves. And what are, just like the sun, they are emanating the positive energy. If anyone approaches them, they will share. If nobody comes, they don't go, come, मैं तेरे को मार्कंडे पुराण सुनाता हूँ, मैंने लिखा है. You catch the collar. Hey, I have written the Markandeya Puran, it's going waste. Come, you also come, No collection of anyone. If anyone comes, so be it. See, it was this Markandeya, sage Markandeya, who was instrumental in helping Hemavati or Sati to find Lord Shiva. You remember? So she finds that Rudraksh, and when she finds the Rudraksh, it's because from Markandeya's Kamandalu, the Rudraksh fell into the stream and it came down, and she was in the jungle or in the garden, and she finds that the moment she touches it, she feels there is some connection. Just like when you meet someone, just like I met the Gulpangal, I felt there was a connection. And what was the connection? It must go into my tummy. See? So when you meet someone, you immediately feel the connection. And some people, you try, but you can't make that connection happen. It is okay. Everything is not for you. So that Parvati or Sati did. Then he is the one who tells her, do this puja. Then Narad Muni comes and helps her. But the first instrumental person was sage Markandeya. He tells her about the greatness of this Lord Shiva. He tells her about who his Aradhya is. See? And as she comes to know more and more and more about Lord Shiva, she comes to conviction that if I marry, I will marry only Lord Shiva. And Daksha doesn't like Shiva. That story you know, okay? So then what we must do, if these are the qualities that sage Markandeya has been blessed, why has he blessed him? So that he can bless the rest of the world. How? By merely his presence, by writing the Markandeya Puran, which is available. You can get it and you can read it. So many ashrams it is taught. And Suta Uvacha, continuing. एवं वरांस मुनये दत्वा गात्र्यक्ष ईश्वरः देव्यै तत्कर्म कथयन् अनुभूतं पुरा मुना सोऽप्यवाप्तमहायोगं योग महिमा भार्गवोत्तमः विचरत्यधुनाप्यद्धा हरावेकान्ततां गतः अनुवर्णितमेतत्ते मार्कण्डेयस्य धीमतः अनुभूतं भगवतो मायावैभवमद्भुतम् एतत् केचिद्विद्वांसो मायासंस्कृतिमात्मनः अनाद्यावर्तितं नॄणां कादाचित् कं प्रचक्षते. He says, evam, Sudji is saying, evam varansa munaye datva gatriyaksha ishvaraha devyai, her fault. Devyai tat karma kathayan anubhutam puramuna. Having thus granted boons to sage Markandeya, the three-eyed Lord, which is Lord Shiva, withdrew. Withdrew means he came by the Akash mark. They were traveling in the space, he and his wife. Then they went. How did they vanish? Have you ever seen UFOs suddenly appearing and UFOs suddenly vanishing? Have you seen in the daytime when you are tired, suddenly the sleep taking over and suddenly the sleep going away? You have experienced. In the class you have seen suddenly while listening you are imagining something and suddenly you realize that you are in your own reverie and you come back to waking state. So you are with open eyes, you are dreaming, imagining, and then suddenly few seconds, few minutes, and then you come back to normal. This is what I'm talking about, vanishing. Disappearing. This is how he disappeared. For one moment he was there, next moment he went away after giving whatever blessings he had to give. And this is how, just like Kamsa, when he was taking the chariot of Devaki and Vasudev, and the Akashvani came. Akashvani came and it went away. Isn't it? Exactly like that. Your blinking of an eye is also, it comes and it goes away. Your breath also comes and goes. Everything is like that only. Everything in your life is like that only. But we have the foolishness to think it is continuous. There nothing is continuous. Only one thing is continuous. One tattva is continuous. And that is the spirit. That is the self. That is the infinite consciousness. That is the continuous without a break. Apart from everything other than that, which you can think, which you can imagine, which you can talk about, which you can see, hear, touch, feel, taste, is not, it seems to be continuous, but actually it is not continuous. It seems the earth is continuous. Long before you came it is there, but it is continuously changing. It seems that your kids are continuous. Yesterday also the kid was there, today also, now she has become a 18-year-old girl. Happy birthday. Say thank you, Swamiji. Ah. Shameless buggers. Huh? Suddenly 18 years, but she's the same. So we think she's the same, or everyone else is the same, or this house is the same, but unknown to you, continuous change is taking place. So why do we feel that we are continuous? Because you are essentially the self. You are essentially the unchanging one, imagining foolishly that you are the changing one. And that changeless that you have superimposed, you have put a stamp on this body, and you think this body is changeless. And then you go for plastic surgery to maintain that changelessness. Only after a few years you come to know, naak haath mein aa gayi yaar, kahan chali gayi? and nose is melting away. Suddenly by mistake you are making dosa and nose vanished. What happened? Melted. Why? It was a false one. Plastic surgery. So, having thus granted boons to Markandeya, the three-eyed Lord withdrew, telling his consort, meaning Parvati, of the sage's deeds in the form of austerities as well as what has been experienced by him before. This is the type of topic that we must engage in. When we were in the ashram, believe me, every night I had never met Chinmayananji. I had not met any, apart from Ammachi and one more Mahatma, I had not met anyone. Yes, I have read about many Mahatmas through the books and this and that, Paramahamsa Yogananda and Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Eknath Maharaj, Namdev Maharaj, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, many masters I had read, but never met anyone. And now in the ashram I go and I see all these students, they have played cricket with Chinmayananji. They have talked to him, he has thumped their back, and they are sitting at his feet and they are doing his work. I said, it was fascinating. What it must be like to be with a master. See? And we used to spend till 2 to 3 a.m. We used to sit. They are telling their stories. We are telling whatever I have read, or we used to take someone's life and we used to read together, three of us. And this was happening in some rooms. And 4:30 we have to wake up. Then again, how many? 6 classes in the day. But you are on fire. Nothing is. If you feel sleepy, you know, okay, sleep aa rahi hai, quick power nap or take 3 times shower and get fresh. But you don't want to waste time. You want to utilize every time in satsang, talking about masters, talking about what we have heard in the class, what we have studied, what are our contemplations, what do other masters think about it. But more than logic, it was about their life. And that was inspiring us. See? And Shivji and Parvatiji, what are they doing? They are only doing satsang, talking about Mahatmas. What do husband and wife talk about? Occupancy certificate aa gaya ki nahi aa gaya? How much bill has to be paid? Which paint? Array, I wanted this paint, you want that paint. I wanted this color curtains, I wanted this one. इसी में चला जाता है समय. Or your daily, that was one time and it was necessary also. But on a daily basis, what is the quality of conversation that 2 people are having in a house? It's about children, it's about bills, it's about car servicing, it's about now July, so your what do you call, land tax, house tax, insurance, health insurance, ये सब बिल आ गए अभी. That also, Shivji also doesn't help. He has handed that part of his department to Parvati Amma. That's why she is called Annapurna. Shivji is not called Annapurna. Then how does she manage? He uses his devotees. She uses his devotees to get all the job done. She cooks, but everything else they have to do. So, our quality of conversation, because man is what company he keeps. So, what are you keeping your mind engaged in? These things will go on. They are not critical. What is more important will determine where your thoughts are. Are your thoughts about the stories of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, pastimes more than the Lord? They should be about pastimes of the, not pastimes, the stories, their sadhana, their life of saints and sages. Because for you they are real. For you they also took birth. For you they are still, some of them are still, many of them are still present. They also had mother, they also had father, they also eat, drink, sleep like you. Gods, यार पता नहीं कहाँ है, कैसा है. It's an imagination. Most of the time it's an imagination. Till you don't have a one-to-one with them, or they don't grant you that. But sages, yeah, even though it is their biographies, but it is real. It has happened. They have gone through the difficulties. There are sages who are married, sages who have many children, no children, some children, one child, two child. Many sages have children who don't listen to them. Many sages have children who listen to them. Many sages, you will see stories that their children fight with them only, fight with their father and go away. Some of them go the wrong way, some of them go the right way. So why all these different options are given? To show that you are responsible for your happiness. Don't seek happiness through children. Don't seek happiness through anything outside. Maintain your calmness, coolness of your mind under all circumstances. And how to bring that about? By thinking about those people who have done the same and achieved greatness, achieved self-realization, such as Sage Markandeya, who is ever still present. Remember, he is present entire kalpa. So if you think about him here, sitting in this room, his blessings are there upon you. If you sit here and think about Raman Maharishi, his blessings are there. If you think here and think about anyone, he will get a hiccup. बोलते हैं ना, हिचकी लगती है, याद करो तो हिचकी दिला उनको बार बार. Till they get so tired, they have to come and give darshan. Who is remembering me so much? You know now what I am saying? If someone remembers someone, so if I am remembering Narayana, for example, and he is not here, he is in his house and I am in my house. If I strongly remember him, he will start getting a hiccup. And usually what you do, you take a little bit of water, you look up, who's remembering me? I don't know who's remembering me. ऐसे ही होता है ना. तो भगवान को हिचकी दो. भगवान को हिचकी दो. The Sapta Rishis and Markandeya Rishi, उनको हिचकी दो. Because they are meditating. Disturb their meditation like this. Remember them. When they are not able to continue meditation because हिचकी आ रही है, the hiccups are coming. Who is remembering me? They are.
Alert from software update.
Yes. So, if they are disturbed by your remembering them, then they have to come and bless you. You think Lord just comes like that or what? He gets your message. Someone is remembering incessantly. He or she is not going to leave me till I don't. So when it comes to the peak, that is your devotion, your remembrance come to a peak, then the Lord comes. But He waits till you don't mature to that peak. It is not your wish, and if you want darshan, if you want devotion, does not mean that you want darshan of the Lord. You should not want anything. Then alone you can reach the peak. Nothing wrong with wishing also, but फिर उसके साथ उसके consequences हैं. Anyway, telling his consort of the sage's deeds in the form of austerities, as well as what had been experienced by him before. So Parvati Amma, she did not know the story of sage Markandeya. She was just impressed by this great sage, and she told Lord Shiva, let's go and bless. After having blessed, she said, who was he? What is he? How do you know him? How come you blessed him so much? Then he tells him all the story what we studied in last 2 chapters. Continuing in the 39th verse. Sopyavapta mahayoga mahima bhargavottamaha vicharatya dhunapyadha iharave kantata. Having realized the glory of Mahayoga, the yoga of Jnana, sage Markandeya, the foremost of the science of Bhrigu, for his part goes about the world at will, even now. Puran is telling us, even now he goes around the world exclusively devoted as he is to Sri Hari. It's like the air is moving around on the planet throughout its life. Has it any other choice? Somewhere it carries the warm currents from a desert to colder areas, and many times, all the time, it brings the cold air from the Antarctic to Melbourne. See, who is doing this? Air. But is air cold or hot? Warm? No. So we may, because we are looking at our comfort, so we complain, but it is doing what it's supposed to do. Same way, what is the job description of sage Markandeya? To go around and spread the devotion of the Lord. He is doing what he is been blessed with. And his presence automatically becomes an inspiration wherever he is. And in this way, the glory of Mahayogi. Who is this Mahayogi? They say the yoga of Jnana. That is the Mahayoga. Yoga of Kundalini, yoga of Bhakti, yoga of Karma. You have to understand their proper placement in your sequence of sadhana. What is the first? What is the first yoga from where you begin? Yoga of, come on, I'll drink water, you'd think. What is
Yama.
what is that?
Yama.
What is yama?
Niyama.
Mm-hmm. That is not yoga. That is one of the steps of Ashtanga yoga. Someone said here, Vishada yoga is the first yoga. What is that? The yoga of identity crisis, the yoga of breaking down, the yoga of confusion, the yoga of not knowing. What do you mean by yoga of not knowing, yoga of confusion? Yes, when you are fixated on being miserable. And then, why are you miserable? Because of my mom. Why are you miserable? Because of my dad. Why are you miserable? Nobody loves me. Why are you miserable? Nobody likes me on the Facebook. Why are you miserable? Nobody takes me for my birthday. Why are you miserable? Because I did not get what I like to eat. Why are you miserable? Why my birthday is pink and not red? Why? Unique ways of becoming miserable all the time. Never being happy. This is the yoga of identity crisis, yoga of despondency. This is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Another way to put, yoga of accidents. Some people, we had one person living with us. She walks, there is a bhuchal. Bhuchal ko kya bolenge? Earthquake behind her. She enters from the front door. The shoes will go here, there. The stand is there with the coat hanger and the umbrella. That will shake, and sometimes it will fall. Then she comes, she bangs into the wall there. Then she bangs into the wall here. And to hold that, she will hold the bell of the Lord Ganesha, pull that down, then come to the dining table, and then But not yoga of accidents. No control over the body. Just like accidents, when do accidents happen? When you have got no control over your car, then only accidents. When do accidents happen? When you don't have control over body, over your senses, over your mind, then only accidents happen. See? So, we get all examples. Yesterday, someone got a job at our place and she said, Swamiji, Monday I'm starting. I said, God, good. They are giving me only so much money. I said, what do you mean, so much money? 3 months contract, 24-year-old, first contract in her life, first job, get into the workforce. There she is complaining, they are giving me only so much. I said, you get into it first. Then she says, I was eating my soup. Swamiji, don't tell anyone. I scolded her. Don't put conditions on me. Don't tell me otherwise. Good news, why should I not share? No, I don't want others to know. I said, there are 10 people. If it comes out, it comes out. Otherwise, you take it back. You don't put condition on me. You don't tell. Otherwise, don't tell me. Now I'll tell her, listen to the lecture. I told everyone. Not just one or two, everyone I told. It's on YouTube now. So, yoga of crisis, yoga of accidents, Vishada yoga. This is the first yoga. Second yoga, Karma yoga, which teaches you how to act in life. Why do you do Karma yoga? Why do you do Karma yoga? To only one purpose, and that is to purify. Purify what? Body? Mind. Now you are thinking, because I asked the question. Mind. Think. Lavanya, put it into her nose. Put it in. She's trying. I have put it in. Her nose, not your nose, okay? Her nose. So, tell, what is the first yoga is yoga of crisis. Second is yoga of karma. Karma yoga is, the purpose of karma yoga is to purify. This is also correct. Purify what? You said body, no. Purify mind, no. Then what? Antahakaran. Purification of your mind. Yes, in one way you are right, but it has to be more specific. Your mind is expressing as mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Mind, intellect, memory and ego. These four are imaginations of your mind because of its identification. That identification was creating a crisis before. That's why the first chapter. Now we are doing karma yoga, by way of which this identification is going to be weakened. Then when it gets weakened, when the mind becomes weak, means it gets purified, and as a result of the purification of mind, intellect, memory and ego, when mind, intellect and memory get weakened, ego becomes weaker. As a result, what happens? The third yoga, the yoga of devotion, or between yoga, devotion and karma yoga is dhyana yoga. When ego has less data to interact with, and what is the data? Mind, intellect and memory. It has got less. Why they have become less? Because you are doing what is required to be done with no ifs, buts, because no. If I do ifs, buts now here because I have to talk, in my mind it will be, oh, I should have talked, why did I keep quiet? I went to one ashram. That was my Baal Maushi. So she was like my grandmother. As a kid I had played in her lap. So we found out, we were on the Maharashtra tour. I think Dinesh and Seema were there with us that time. We went to that ashram and she said, after having her darshan and everything, no, this time it was different. I was alone. And I went to her, she recognized me and, oh, you have done ashram? Okay, come, you say something. I went out, she's sitting on one chair there, I'm sitting on one chair here, and she never said, you start. So she started speaking. She was 80 plus. She started speaking. And when she started speaking, I sat with my eyes closed out of respect. But she never said that you speak. Half an hour went, I didn't speak. She said, Purnamada Purnamidam, complete ho gaya. Afterwards she said, you didn't speak. I said, you never told me to speak. देखो ऐसे भी हो जाता है. So meditation is, yoga of meditation happens when mind is purified. When yoga of meditation begins, naturally your inquisitiveness as to who is this person in meditation when mind is quiet, when this becomes, it catches you from inside, just like today hunger caught me from inside, I needed something to put into my stomach. So when this inquiry catches you from inside, some people go directly to it. For some people, the next step is the yoga of devotion. What is that yoga of devotion? Because they are not able to give up their mind. So you go from individual mind to total mind. From individual consciousness to total consciousness. Total consciousness, God consciousness. Then who is God? Om Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. Then it is Lord Shiva or Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu, and you contemplate on them. How do you contemplate on them? Initially you begin with form, then you go beyond form, then you hold on to the name of the Lord, and then that name also drops, Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, and you merge into the divine. So that is the long way. It's like holding your ear like a nose all the way. You can hold it straight. Ramana Maharishi came to it straight. Then are we going straight or are we going long way about? Think. Give a smart answer. Are we going straight or are we going the long way about? Can't say anything. Are we going straight or are we going the long way about?
Long way about.
That is the obvious answer, isn't it? Huh? What did he say? Depends on where we are now. That depends upon what do you think you are at this moment. Are you the Gaunatma? Are you the Mithyatma? Or are you the Mukhyatma? Are you the husband, wife, daughter, sister, mother? Or are you the Jiva, the soul who's functioning here? Or do you consider yourself at this very moment to be the infinite spirit? Choice is yours. So you create a journey because of your choices, and there is no journey if you make the correct choice. Correct? So, is there a journey in what we are doing? We are studying a scripture called Bhagavad Mahapuran. It's a devotional text with lots of knowledge also. So, is it catching your nose the long way or is it directly?
No, we have come to the direct.
it will, as he said, if you take the position of the spirit, this is the Leela that is going on. But if you think, by studying this, I will come to realize, then you are creating the long way. Understand? The question is, where are you in yourself? Who do you consider yourself to be at this moment? At this moment. I am a papi, I have committed so many sins, I have pickpocketed so many people, I have... then I think I have to atone for my sins, only then I can even touch the Bhagavad Mahapuran. This is long way. If your attention is that Bhagavad is happening in my house, how much blessed? Who will be blessed? Walls will be blessed or what? Walls are inert, they will never get blessed. Then who gets blessed? Only the consciousness gets blessed. And that consciousness is not in the walls, it is in you. That is why when the person dies, they have satsangs or they read Garud Puran. It's not for the dead person. Stupidly anyone thinks, uski atma ko shanti. Atma hamesha shant rehti hai. Atma is always happy because the nature of Atma is Satchidanand Swarup. Atma ko shanti kaise denge? Atma doesn't need shanti. Then who needs shanti? These Atmas in crisis who are crying because of the one who has died. They need to be pacified. For that all the satsang is done. Then what are they talking about that? Okay, go. If you believe that way, then continue. I'm giving you a different look to it. If you think that is the way, that you have to do it for them, then you are in Karma Yoga. It must be done. But we are now already in Bhakti Yoga, remember, in the sequence. So in Bhakti Yoga, your whole approach is different. Everything is divine in Bhakti Yoga. Brahmarpanam Brahmavi, Brahmagno Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. There is nothing. Brahman is everything. The Brahman is seeing through the eyes. Brahman is the eyes. And Brahman is the seen also. The eater is Brahman, the hand is Brahman, the food is Brahman, the movement is Brahman, the digestion process is Brahman, and the nourishment that has taken place, that is also Brahman. So Brahman eating Brahman. This is the vision of Bhakti. And when you reach this epitome, when you reach this climax of understanding, as by way of taking name of the Lord, by way of devotion, by way of surrender, by continuous remembrance of the divine theme, it must come to this point, Brahmarpanam Brahmavi, that in every breath your Hari Om is going on, or Soham is going on, or Om Namah Shivaya is going on. And when you see, hear, touch, feel, taste, think, continuously, you are seeing everything, hearing everything, but your attention is on your Lord. This is the climax of devotion. When it comes to the climax of devotion, at that very moment, knowledge also begins. Then Jnana Yoga begins. So, after the entire 11 cantos, how many chapters? Total number of verses in Bhagavatam are 18,000. Now we have got only about few, how many? 23 plus 67, say 100. 100, 100, 100, 150. Now out of 18,000 verses, 150 verses plus 2 more. 152 verses are left. Which means we have done all the yogas. Now we are ready to die. Meaning the ego is ready to die. meaning we are eternal, just like Markandeya, sage Markandeya has become eternal. We are also eternal in essence. He also was feeling that, oh, what is Maya, this, that. He also did his sadhana. He is also a son of Bhrigu. He is also a son of Bhrigu Rishi. See? So this possibility of becoming immortal, in fact not becoming immortal, recognizing that you are immortal. Then why does Markandeya not say that I am immortal? Because the moment he says I am immortal, he is no longer immortal. It must come from others. In your mind this thought must not happen that I am immortal. If your mind says I am immortal, that very moment your ego has crystallized. That very moment your ego has crystallized. Then Lord has come and told, you are for this kalpa, that you are self-realized. Jnaneshwar Maharaj in Amrut Anubhav, nowhere he says that I am realized. He always sings the glory of his Guru Nivruttinath. But as we come, those who have listened to the end of Amrut Anubhav, you have. So towards the end of Amrut Anubhav, he upar baith jao. You sit up if you are hurting. So towards the end of Amrut Anubhav, he clearly shows that there is no difference between me and my Guru. But he says it out of so much love and devotion, and never showing that these words which are coming out are also not mine, they are his only. It's an art. It's an art. Otherwise, precipitation of ego. So here he says, goes about the world at will now, exclusively devoted as he is to Sri Hari. So now you look, Vivekananda went everywhere, Chinmayananji went everywhere, Anuvanji went everywhere, so many much. So Ramatirth went everywhere. Lahiri Mahasaya, if you have read his biography, his boss, an Englishman living in Ranikhet, he is sad and he goes with the file to the boss. He is in a post office. He is one of the clerks. So he goes with the file and he sees, why my boss is sad. He says, what happened? He says, what do I tell you, Lahiri? My wife is sick and I don't know, I have not heard from her for such a long time. And next day he goes, Lahiri Mahasaya, again he finds his boss sad. In a reverie, he is thinking. So then he says, maybe she is not well, or maybe he comes to know that she is not well, but has she recovered? Is it getting better? He doesn't know, and therefore he is concerned. That night, Lahiri Mahasaya comes back to his house, gets out of his body, travels to London, meets the lady, and gives her some herbs to eat, and she becomes well, and then he says, write a letter to your husband. And it used to take 1 month for the letter to come by boat. And he comes back, next morning he goes to work, he tells the boss, the Englishman, that you will get a letter in 1 month. In 1 month the letter comes, and she says that I am coming by the next boat. So she comes, and they are talking each other, he comes, welcomes, everything, and one day she comes because he has forgotten his lunch box. So frock pehn ke, she comes to the post office, comes to the post office, and when she is going to the office, suddenly she looks at Lahiri Mahasaya, goes in, who is this fellow? He says, he is my friend, he is a nice fellow, very nice fellow. He says, I know him. He calls him in. And then she says, he came, he gave me the medicine, I became okay, he told me to write the letter and told me take the next boat to India. See? I am giving you example of Lahiri Mahasaya and that fellow. My journey to ashram was also like this only. Some voice, some sound, Akash, जैसे कंस ने सुना था, या कंस तो नहीं था यहाँ पे, बट आवाज आई, शास्त्र पढ़ो, कहाँ पढ़ो, कैसे पढ़ो, क्यों पढ़ो, कुछ नहीं, नो आंसर. Only thing was study the scriptures. And it was an unstoppable journey within 3 months, 6 months. No, from that day when I heard, from that day to the confirmation that I will study in the ashram, that took 3 months. Events happened so fast and nothing in my control. See? ऐसे होता है. Then you are in, जैसे ये कभी कभी आती है, she tells, no, I go from your house to home. She doesn't know how she reaches because she is listening to lectures, but she reaches without accident. Someone. When we are hungry, we don't know what we are eating, but our tummy is, something has gone in. See? So we don't need to know all the specifics. How? That is trust. That is faith. That is devotion. So जाने के पहले what was I doing? I was doing the japa. And what did it lead me to? Because this one is a bit difficult to melt. Then what happened? It took me to Vedanta. You were also in devotion before. How come you came? You got attracted to Vedanta? Lord's grace. Were you born with all this? The capacity to understand, was it there before 10 years, 15 years ago? No. And now, having heard the scriptures, Bhagavad, Swamiji, lectures again and again and again, and you have remained committed to it, automatically, unknown to you, you are flowering. Your intellect is flowering. It is able to understand. You started as an ignorant. Identity crisis. Buddhu. And today, don't feel proud of it. We must attribute it all to the Lord here. Nothing is our doing. But our doing is only making ourselves available to satsang continuously. And you have all seen the transformation, the understanding of life, whatever your vices or whatever your shortcomings are there, whatever your reactionary habits were there, we have slowly grown out of them. Many things we have grown out. Some things are still to be grown out. It is not a downward journey. You have raised yourself. See? Merely by listening, merely by enjoying satsang. See? This is the bhakti part we are talking. If we are available with devotion, single-pointedly available to the scripture, knowledge will become ours. Knowledge is not in the words. Knowledge is not in the book. These words in the book, these words in the mouth of the teacher only act as a impetus to invoke the knowledge which is latent within you. It's not that you are gaining knowledge. You are of the nature of knowledge. That knowledge is being invoked. The fragrance is already in the flower. The sun gives the light, the flower opens and the fragrance spreads. The teacher comes into your life, the scriptures come into your life, the devotion comes into your life, and that knowledge which was inherent, which is your true nature, it starts flowering. And the more it flowers, more the fragrance. Trambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam. That fragrance of knowledge, of realization, of recognizing that I am not the mind, I am not the individual, I am the infinite one. Such a person is a source of blessing, even if he says, "Mi tuja patishi aahe." Whether he says, I am with you or not with you, he touches you or doesn't touch you, his presence, he is looking at you or not looking at you, his presence itself is a blessing. Even a thought of that person is a blessing. You don't have to know that person in person, in physically. Just the thought also is enough. See? And that is our nature. So scriptures are only acting as a invoker. They are only invoking the knowledge that is already present. We are not adding anything new. Scriptures are not adding anything new. Teacher is not adding anything new. So I don't have to understand. No, you don't have to understand. If you try to understand, you are slowing down the process. If you try not to understand and yet be available to it single pointedly, like that, it will catch fire. Okay. You know how you read fast? You know fast reading? How you do it? Have you ever seen? It is not by word, by what is it? Having thus granted boons to Markandeya, the three-eyed Lord. This is stupid reading. Fast reading, you know what? You have to take the first line and the second line, and your attention should be in between the two lines where there is empty space. And you do not make a conclusion what you are going to read. You are just available. Slowly you just scan the space between the two rows. पूरा पिक्चर आ जाएगा अंदर. कभी ट्राई करो. See? And you can read novels after novels. खटा 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 story पता है. You didn't read every word. No, I didn't read every word. But what is the story? This is the story. How do you know? I don't know. See? ये मजा है. ये मजा है. What's the time? 8. Okay. Today we'll conclude this chapter. Another 3 verses. Otherwise, 3 verses will take another 1 class. I'm stopping at every word. पर मजा आ रहा है, आनंद आ रहा है. So, having realized the glory of Mahayoga, the yoga of jnana. So, what is the ultimate? The yoga of jnana. And what is the yoga? Jnana yoga? What I just said. Where that which is inherent becomes invoked. How did it get invoked in Markandeya Rishi? Lord Shiva said, you will know all the blessings that we just read. You will know the past, present, future. But that is relative jnana. What is the ultimate jnana? Ultimate self-realized. That is the ultimate jnana. What is the consequence of that jnana? Some masters may speak about it, some masters may not speak about it. Ramana Maharishi never spoke about it. Nisargadatta Maharaj never spoke about it. But other masters, they will tell you what your past is, they will tell you, they can see what your future is. So, from self-realization, which is the ultimate, then at the relative level, till the body is there, such a master knows the past, present, future. Then he is healthy and disease free. Yes, spirit is always healthy and disease free. Then where is the disease and health? For the body. Was it required? Why Ramana Maharishi was not like that? Why Markandeya is like that? Because he was blessed by Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva wanted this body to be present for the whole kalpa. Ramana Maharishi was not required for the whole kalpa with the body. Isn't it? So his body went away, Ram Sukdas ji's body went away, Nisargadatta Maharaj's body went away, Chenmayanand ji's body went away, Tapad Maharaj's body went away. Were they not jnanis? They were also jnanis. So each one has his own job description, whatever the Lord decides. In the 40th verse, he says, अनुवर्णितमेतत्ते मार्कण्डेयस्य धीमतः अनुभूतं भगवतो मायावैभवमद्भुतम्. The story of the wise Markandeya as well as the wonderful story of the Lord's Maya as experienced by him has been narrated to you. Sut Maharaj Ji is telling this story of sage Markandeya, the Markandeya Prasanga, to the Shaunakadi Rishi. Huh? Hey Lavanya, such long fingers. Such long fingers. Sure? Lord's Maya, as experienced by him, been narrated to you. So he is telling the story to Shaunakadi. Then, etat kechida vidvanso maya sansruti matmanaha anadyavartitam nrunam kadachit kam prachakshate. This glory of the Lord's Maya, experienced by the sage Markandeya as extending over a period of 7 kalpas, according to ancient tradition, was, as a matter of fact, but accidental and a purely personal experience attributable to divine grace and not universal. What is divine grace and attributable to divine grace and not universal? That this sage Markandeya is not there all the time. It is just like our King Indra, to whom you do Havan and all for. He is there for how long? How long he is going to be there? In the next Manvantara, Bali is going to become the Indra who is being protected by Lord Narayana. So Indra's job is not permanent job, isn't it? Similarly, this sage Markandeya also is not a permanent, it's not a universal truth. It is a relative truth. And that relative is for the 7 cycles of 7 days of Lord Brahmaji, 7 kalpas. Some Puranas say, here he told him 1 kalpa. So it is by the grace of the divine grace, meaning Lord Shiva's grace. So it is not a natural phenomenon, natural thing, it is because of the grace. There is no precedence why it happened, just like that. Many things happen in our life just like that, and we must recognize them to be blessing. Yesterday, where were we? In Gita, it is coming. At the physical level, many things happen suddenly. What the example they have taken there is the blink of an eye. So every time you blink, something you will see. See it as the grace of the Lord. Then at a Adi Daivik level, lightning, accident, suddenly getting a lottery, suddenly someone dying. Take it as grace of the Lord. See the presence of the Lord that He alone is expressing in that event, rather than me and mine, which will lead to miserableness. See the presence of the Lord. And then Adhyatma, that every thought in our mind, every thought must remind us of the infinite self. Every thought must. So thought, it can be Om Namah Shivaya, or it can be just Om. So thought is Om, your mind is chanting Om, 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 Om. So is Om divine? Yes, but that Om is relative divine when you are chanting. Is it reminding you of the constant one without whom the chanting cannot take place in the mind? And is that constant one separate from you? You are the one. No, you are watching that the mind is a japa jap, the mantra is going on. So every stimuli at the sensory level, every uncalled for experience in life, like a lightning, like an earthquake, like an accident, etc., or at the adhyatmic level, every thought, every experience must remind us of must take our mind. With every thought, our mind must come to the self. This is the jnana. If this is not happening, then we are still in the relative. So in spite of the relative, we never forget we are the constant one. That is jnana. The next one. य एवमेतद् भृगुवर्यवर्णितं रथाङ्गपाणेरनुभावभावितं संश्रयावयेत् स शृणुयादुताहुभौ तयोर्न कर्माशय संसृतिर्भवेत्. He says in the 42nd verse. We didn't complete the first part. Some, however, not knowing the appearance and disappearance of men in the shape of evolution and dissolution as nothing but the Maya of the Supreme Spirit, declare this experience as no other than the ordinary process of evolution and dissolution, taking place from time without beginning and repeated 7 times at the end of every 1,000 revolutions of the 4 yugas during the lifetime of Markandeya himself. Let's not go into too much of these infinite calculations which we have no idea about, but understand, every time your eye is blinking, every time this 2 lips are coming together and then getting separated, every time the breath is coming in and breathing is going out, what is happening? Involvement and withdrawal, connection and disconnection, attachment and detachment, isn't it? Birth and death. Whether you call it attachment, detachment, or you call it birth or death. So this process of creation and dissolution, from the microcosmic thing to the macrocosmic, which is Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. We are not talking about Narayana. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. This process of creation and dissolution is continuously, every moment it is taking place. So overwhelmed with excitement by someone's birth, overwhelmed with excitement when she spoke the first word, overwhelmed with misery when someone dies. This happens, no? अभी किसी ने बोला, हाँ कल ही किसी का फोन आया था, राघवेंद्र, अपना राघवेंद्र, his father passed away. So what should I do? I said, chant Guru Gita, you chant, do the Parayan or do your japa, whatever you are doing. कुछ कर सकता हूँ? कुछ नहीं, तेरा भाई कर रहा है ना वहाँ पे, 2 जगह पे कंफ्यूज मत करो उसको. तुम अपना ये करो. So why? Because we are attached. We are attached. See? Swamiji gives one example. He met one Mahatma in Rishikesh, or कहीं पे यूपी में. They are good friends. So one day he went and somewhere the lectures were going on, and suddenly one jeep came with the news. What? That Mahatma's Guru Maharaj left the body. Immediately he stopped the lectures, he went there, and he saw. By the next day when he reached there, Swamiji also went with him, and when he reached there, he already saw 3,000-4,000 people there, already gathered in Haridwar or Rishikesh somewhere. So, chalo, aa jao. Swamiji also was behind him, and everyone is going, Swamiji, अब कैसे होगा? हमारे पिताजी चले गए, हमारे गुरु चले गए, हमारे ये चले गए, हमारे चले गए, अब हम अनाथ हो गए. Now we have become destitute. Our God in the form of our Guru Maharaj is no longer. And when he saw, because 4,000 means you have to at least 100 steps you have to take between all the devotees. By the time he reached, everyone was crying and giving santvana, solace to the teacher himself. He was the next in charge. By the time he says, yaar, ye to gadbad ho jayegi. Suddenly, he created, Mere Guru Maharaj, how will I live? How will I do that? All those dialogues that people had told him, he started screaming, he started shouting, he started crying, he started writhing on the floor. He held the feet of the Guru. I will also come with you. I will not go. All the 4,000 people, they said, Swamiji, it's okay. All the 4,000 people forgot crying. They started pacifying this next in charge. Swamiji, you should not be attached to Guru Maharaj. It's only body. Atma never dies. They are giving him. After little 5-10 minutes of crying, and someone said, "Nahi, Swamiji, aap le jao." He allowed. Went into the kutia. Now, chai leke aao, pakode leke aao. It was easier. Why he did that drama? Because to listen to 4,000 people crying and I also feel that way. Instead, what he did? Made 4,000 people to pacify him. Story over. Was he affected in any way? Was there pain? Yes, there must have been pain. Guru Maharaj is there. But whether someone from the family is also there is pain. But are you getting affected by it? Are you becoming emotional? That's where you have to. That emotional disturbance is directly proportional to your attachment or infatuation with that person. Whether it is your child, husband, mother, etc., etc. So then, we should not love. No, love. Then how do you love? You love them atmatvena. You love, just like you love yourself, you love them as the self. Then you are not attached to the body then. Body, you understand, everything in this creation that has come into creation will go out of creation. To expect that why it has gone so early, child is only 3-4 year old and it passes away because of some disease. Why the child? There is no answer to why. It happened. Accept it. Or if you can do something about it, do it. But don't become miserable about it. Because when you become miserable, then your right thinking is gone. Then your poise is gone. Always remain in poise. Accepting whatever is coming and responding with that poise, remaining in that poise. When you are in that poise, that mind is also integrated. That integrated, when it responds to whatever life is throwing, it will be the correct one. But you are disturbed, then mind is also disturbed, ego is disturbed. You are disturbed means what? Ego has come up. When ego has disturbed, mind is disturbed. It doesn't know what is right and wrong. Then your response will also be right and wrong accordingly. So maintain that poise. Maintain that poise. So that is what is there in this 41st verse, in the 42nd verse. Both he who duly narrates to others and he who attentively hears, which we have been doing. I have been speaking and I have been hearing. What have you been doing? Huh? You have not been talking? You have not been speaking? Daksha, you have been speaking or only listening? Working. In between you have been listening. But in my case, I am listening also and I am speaking also and listening also. So when you, as our Swamiji says, when you do japa, when you chant your mantra, don't chant to make other people hear. You chant so that you hear. The first person who is listening to the mantra that your mouth is chanting is yourself. So the more you are with it, that loud chanting will become soft chanting. That soft chanting will become a japa jap chanting if you are listening to yourself. But if you are making it to show off to others, I am a no, करते रहोगे तो वो कभी भी the next step will not get initiated only because your attention is outside. So both he who duly narrates to others and he who attentively hears. So ya evam etad bhruguvaryam varnitam. Varnitam is speaking and hearing. Where are we? Hears. O dwell among the Bhrigus, this story of Markandeya recounted as aforesaid and enriched with the glory of Lord Vishnu, who wields the wheel of time in the shape of the discus in his hands, are rid of transmigration brought about by the latencies of karma. Transmigration means continuously after death taking another body, then again dying, then again taking a body, then again dying, then again. You know how you take bodies again and again? Like in the dream. Every time you get into a dream, it's a new body. Sometimes you're a man, sometimes you're a woman, sometimes you're a lion, sometimes you're an elephant, sometimes you're a ghost in the dream. Have you noticed? You never know what your form is in the dream, but you know you are a man or a woman or whatever, you are a tree or whatever. So every time it's a different form. You have never seen your form, but you know who you are. And when you wake up, it's dead. Tonight, new form. This is from dream point of view. Tonight you will go to sleep with this form. Tomorrow you will wake up, you think it is the same form, but it is already changed. According to science also, every 7 years, every cell in your body changes. So if you can maintain a good lifestyle, a sattvic lifestyle with regular sadhana for at least at physical level, good food, good nutrition, good exercise, 7 years, you can reverse the process. This is what Kaya Kalpa is, no? Then for mind, 12 years. It's subtle. So 12 years, tapas is told. So that Lord who is beyond, who is the master of time, space and objectivity. So you're the time. How is he holding the time? He is holding the time as the way of discus. So that Lord who wields the wheel of time in the shape of discus in his hands, and once, if we live in this particular manner, if we recognize that this phenomena of creation and destruction is not a special event in our life, but it is continuously taking place in the relative world from microcosm to macrocosm. And once this is known by you, this is experienced by you, you are seeing it everywhere in spite of doing everything, you are aware of that, then such a person is free from birth and death. It's free from transmigration. And why does transmigration come? Why do births come? Rebirth happens because the vasanas are still there. Vasanas, latent desires. Now understand, I'll quickly, why do latent vasanas or latent impressions or vasanas, why are they formed? Why are they formed? Yes, when actually speaking, understand the whole process in quickly without going into details. Spirit never does anything or never not do anything. It's always the same. When it gets identified with the equipment, body, breath, mind, intellect, it starts thinking that it is the body and it becomes the doer. When it becomes the doer, actually speaking, this doership is not possible only because spirit is separate to the body. From Sankhya point of view, spirit is separate from the body. Spirit is infinite, body is finite. Body comes and goes, spirit doesn't come and go. Spirit is continuous, body is discontinuous. So you are always the witness of you witness your memories, you witness your thoughts, you witness your convictions, you are witnessing your breath, you are witnessing the hands moving, you are witnessing everything. But you don't live as a witness unintelligently. You think you are the body, you are the seer, you become the seer, hearer, toucher, feeler, thinker, taster, etc., etc. So where is the activity taking place? Activity is taking place at the level of body. It is called activity. But when a doer is born, which is a ghost, an imagination, because born out of identification, how do you mean? Just like woman identified with man or husband is called wife. Is wife real or woman real? Woman real. Then who is wife? Ghost. No, nothing, don't take it lightly. Who is miserable? Wife. Woman is not miserable. Wife is miserable because of husband. Mother is miserable because of children. Employee is disturbed or miserable because of employer. Understand? Woman is not miserable. So this imagined personality which has come due to identification, that one is miserable. Similarly, now consciousness, as if, are you attached to him? Only in your mind, no? Imagine you are stuck together, you can't leave each other. That will be identification problem. So there is no way that you are attached, but it is that attachment is in your mind that I am his wife, I cannot live without him, because you have accepted yourself to be the wife. Similarly, this consciousness has thought that I am the body. At that very moment, the doer comes up. And that activity, which is the nature of the body and mind, now is called as karma. When there is a doer, then activity is not an activity, the activity is called karma. When activity also gives you result, karma also gives you result. Activity gives the result, but you are not available to it because you are not identified. Understand? But when you are a doer, karta, when you are a doer and you do karma, karma will give you result, and you always do karma because you like something or you dislike something. Raga, dvesh. And when you do karma and you divide it into raga, dvesh, I like this or I don't like this result, it leaves an impression in your mind. That impression is called vasna, and it goes into your subconscious mind. Then whenever next time the same circumstances come, that latent impression, vasna, again appears as a desire in a thought form and then propels the body to do whatever is required. And that is so what is the spiritual way? Spiritual way is living in such a way that no precipitation of vasanas come about. How will that happen? When you stop doing karma. Don't become the karta. Understand the nature of this prakriti, body, breath, mind, intellect, is creation and dissolution. Creation and dissolution. Is it not true? Every day waking body is created and every waking body dissolves. Then dream body is created, dream body dissolves. Isn't it happening every day? Every time you blink, creation goes away, again it comes, again it goes away, again it comes. Breath also the same way, and everything. Understand the principle. And once we have understood the principle, then those latent impressions which are the storehouse in our subconscious mind, they slowly, by the grace, by continuously remaining unresponsive, unreactionary, always remaining tethered to the self, as the self, all this burns away. And as a result of that, the person does not go through, the body will continue. In case of Markandeya, for 1 day of Brahmaji. In our case, I don't know how long we are all supposed to live. Each one different. But as long as your program is, you will live. Question is, when that program ends, are you abiding in the self, or you are still living in attachment? If you are living in attachment and desires, there will be rebirth. If you are living in the self, as the self, or surrendered to the feet of the Lord, no rebirth. And that is the story, and this story brings about freedom from reincarnation, rebirth. That is the phala of this
Alert from Google, password required.
2-3 chapters of Markandeya, sage Markandeya. इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां 12 स्कन्धे 10मोऽध्यायः. Thus ends the 10th discourse in book 12 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Mahapuran, otherwise known as the Paramhamsa Samhita. Next week we will start the third last. The next 11th chapter, then there is 12th, and there is 13th, only 3 more. Then Bhagavad Puran is concluded. It will still take few months to conclude anyway, the way I am going. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.